Greetings. Um, I have to come back again out on this side today. It is today is Thursday, January 23rd, 2014. Yesterday I had uploaded a video. I was sitting on my bed, wearing my blue nightie. And it was a confrontation issue against John MacArthur in my apartment. MacArthur is in the background with probably some government officials, including Gabriel Franklin and the gay community, the LGBT community, members of Grace Community Church, and they only come out, and they have been doing this since 1999, and prior to 99, all the time I was living in California. So for the last 23 years, they've been doing this in the West Coast. In the East Coast, it started in '85 when I left Gabriel Franklin's house, and from '85 to '90 when I graduated from the Nanuet Group Home, her and MacArthur were persecuting me. But back then I was in high school. I didn't know that it was them. When I was in college, from '85 until I graduated in '96, they were persecuting me. I didn't know it was MacArthur and Franklin. From '96 to '99, they were persecuting me while I was at the seminary, and I didn't know it was MacArthur and Franklin and the gay community. When they finally gave me a 4-page letter and asked me to leave, I had under the accusation of being a homosexual, I wasn't practicing homosexuality with anybody in the church, but I guess that was what they were going to try to turn me into, so that Gabriel could continue to sexually assault me. I was being sexually assaulted, and I didn't even know it, because I guess they had done it during the course of the night, where I would not know in the morning that somebody had taken sexual advantage of me. Now it's an ongoing thing. Yesterday, if you watched the video, I basically dealt with John on the establishment where I'm at, West Shore Apartments, and screamed it out against him because I felt sexually violated. I mean, they do this every night. And I think what's at the heart of this is basically racism, exactly how Martin Luther King and his people have been treated since they got here. This is what is at the root of my constantly being pursued by these invisible people. They're not invisible. They're people just like you and me. But they are, they have this mindset that they can do whatever they want in the country. They have this mindset that they can do whatever they please to whomever they please and basically get away with it, because there is no other authority but their own, since they're the ones who came into the country and established themselves as a government. The Native Americans made a mistake in not establishing themselves as a government, but they had tribes. They didn't unite together as one people like these Europeans have done since they've been here since the 1500s, right? 1509 or 15, whenever they started bringing the slaves into the country, African slaves into this country. Well, since they've been here, it's with this rod of iron that they're in charge and they're in control, and basically this is what they're trying to, I guess, force me to understand. And it's like, I already understand your position as a race and as a people, but what you fail to understand, where I'm coming from, because everything that they've done thus far is for me to recognize that I'm a black man, I'm a subordinate, I'm a slave, and I need to submit to my white masters. In summary, this is what I see, this is what I feel, this is what I'm experiencing. Everything that they do every single day is telling me what, whether it's, passing by, that you're the nigger that didn't submit to our race that way. In other words, you didn't submit to us like the African Americans did as a subordinate. I am not, and neither are any of the nations of the world outside of this country, your subordinates. You understand what I'm saying? You came into the land on, because nobody, first of all, nobody asked you to leave your island. Nobody asked you to go to Africa. Nobody asked you to pick up slaves and to come into a brand new land and to establish yourselves as a government. There was already a tribe here occupying land, right? And you should have respected that, but instead you shed their blood, okay? And we don't even want to talk about bloodshed because you murdered the Son of God, if you even have any claim to the Roman Empire as a race. And I'm glad that's off my chest. But the issue that I'm dealing with now, going back to yesterday, is that these people, MacArthur and all those that he has basically gathered together around him to support him, because I'll tell you the truth, Gabrielle Franklin has no power and no authority in this American continent. And anything that she does has to first be approved by the leading race. Everything that she does has to be approved by the U.S. government, the people who took the position of government, that were appointed to the position of government, right? They have to approve. She can't get on a microphone without them doing what? Without them saying, yes, it's okay for you to get on a microphone and to speak to this man and let him know that you're here. But these Americans, these European Americans, are now telling me, they'll walk by and they say, I love you. And I'm thinking, what? It was something that I had said to Gabrielle Franklin back in 1999 when I was on the phone with her. And I think I was talking to her like a son, like an adopted son. And maybe that's where I made my mistake, in talking to her like an adopted son. I shouldn't have talked to her that way. I should have talked to her like the enemy that I'd become. And that I was at the time, because I was against her for abusing me, and I was against her son for abusing me physically. And so we already were separated. I should not have gone back and tried to make amends with their family, and that was my mistake. I don't apologize for it, because we were still talking on the phone, and their response, their rebuttal to my calling them back then is what I'm experiencing now, what I've been experiencing for the last 15 years since I left Grace Community Church, with the assistance and the help of the U.S. government, the gay community, the Klan, LGBT, and John MacArthur and his staff, John MacArthur, and the members of his church. Now, I'm not exactly sure how much they've done, and of course, every establishment that I've been to since that have assisted them. Well, obviously something had happened today if I'm back in front of this camera talking to you. Well, last night I took the liberty of watching some movies. The first movie that I had to watch, and you're probably going, where's this going? This here, The Tale of Two Cities, where at the end one man, this is back I guess in the 1940s or something like that. Anyway, as the story goes, it's about a man who takes the position of another man when he was going to be. It's like a lawyer who takes the position of an aristocrat that has been falsely accused, or whose family has been accused, and the judgment is his death, the death of the aristocrat, because France had needed liberation from the aristocratic people, and so the lawyer took the position of the aristocrat that was basically charged by the people of France, and they were going to cut off his head. So that was that movie. And then I went, as far as watching this movie here, There's No Business Like Show Business, right, with Marilyn Monroe and some other people in it. I think the Five Donahues, which I thought was really interesting. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great movie. And the Donahues were a singing and dancing group, and they were doing their thing, and I thought it was great. Marilyn wasn't there. That was great, too. And one of the sons of the Donahues became I guess a priest in the church, and the other one went into the Navy, and the girl got married, and the parents, I guess, they either retired or they kept them doing the singing and dancing. Fine, all is well. After watching the movie, I took it was about 7 o'clock in the morning. I watched it all night. I didn't go to sleep. I took a snooze at 7, right, because I was really tired, and I guess the apartment was being gassed, too. I couldn't keep my eyes open. I laid down for an hour and a half. Within that hour and a half that I laid down, I was assaulted, of course, however they do it on a daily basis. And then, lo and behold, my toilet was stopped up. This was the second time that the toilet has been stopped up. The first time I was able to use the plunger to undo it. But the second time, I couldn't do it. And I'm thinking, well, this is ridiculous. So 4 or 5 times I went to see if the manager was there. She wasn't. I guess she wasn't going to come in until later. And it seemed like they were as I was exiting out of the apartment, they were coming in and putting little particles in the bathroom. And so I'm thinking, well, this isn't going to work. If I'm trying to unplug it and you people are plugging it, this isn't going to happen, right? Finally, I go downstairs and talk to one of the workers, and another worker came and wrote up an incident report and handed it to the manager in my absence on my behalf. I left to go talk to the police department because I had called them. They were supposed to come and take a police report because they came into the apartment and they stopped up the toilet again. When I was on the Brynmore property, they kept on doing that to my trailer that I was living in, and I had to literally go into the bowl where all of the water goes and all of the refuse goes and clean out the dirt that they were putting in the toilet to stop up the sink and to stop up the toilet in the bath or wherever I was showering. So because of that reminder, and they were doing it here now in the apartment, I thought to myself, this is never going to stop. This persecution, this assault is never going to stop. Them going in and out of my apartment and stopping it up is never going to stop. I have to put an end to this. So I called 911. 911 was like, well, we're going to try to send you an officer. We don't know it. And I explained to the 911 operator, saying, hey, listen, you know what? The police department knows exactly what's going on because I suspect that it is the police that is doing this, right? It has to be on the federal government level. It can't be just any American doing this. It has to be somebody that has authority so that when I rebuttal or when I respond, I can't do anything back to them in this magnitude, and if I do, it's an automatic arrest, right? And the last time that I was arrested for responding to what they've done, I went to jail for punching a man in the face, and because I ended up losing the trailer and the truck. MacArthur had done so much, he and his community had done so much that I ended up losing the trailer and the truck. And so I decked one of them as a result of it because I was so ticked off. Well, anyway, I marched over to the police department, and as soon as I stepped up, I was hit 3 times from behind the desk. And I understood that the person that I was supposed to speak to was in plain clothes, so to me that was a hit. The second hit was the woman that was sitting down. She was a representative of Gabriel Franklin. She had the upper lip impression, so I could read into the fact that it's a Gabriel. And the third was an American. He was about 6 foot tall or above. And as soon as I got there, he gave it to me. I mean, he made the facial expression that there was something wrong. He did it twice. He connected me to the chief of police, and the chief of police was not there, but the answering service was. And so I left them a message to see if I can get some sort of investigation to put an end to this persecution and all the stuff that they're doing, because it's ridiculous. I mean, this is so childish. Some of the stuff that they're doing, stopping up my bathroom, messing up my cutting and piercing my body, but also taking chunks out of my shoes, my slippers, my house shoes that I used to go to church, shoes that I used to go out. I mean, it's like, pranks and things that people are doing that are just ridiculous. You know what I mean? Sabotaging my computer. Who does this sort of thing to people and then get away with it when you try to bring the police into it? There's no resolution. So anyway, after leaving him a message, I started talking to the guy behind the desk, and the guy behind the desk automatically puts me in my place and tells me that I'm going to have to wait a week to speak to someone to resolve what these people are doing, right? They won't stop coming in and out of the apartment. They won't stop assaulting me, and they won't stop humiliating me. And this is just one of those things. It's like, when are you people going to stop and let me live my life? And they won't stop doing it. So they referred me to Thomas Pennington. He's an officer that had come here back in November 27th of 2013. He and Officer Steve Chadwick, apparently Chadwick was a police officer, a chaplain for the Portland Police, and also a Joshua Silverman. And they came from the, behavioral health unit of the Portland Police Department. This is their card right here. This is the card that they had given me back in November of 27. And when I spoke to Thomas Pennington, he told me that he was in contact with Phil Johnson and Herb Buznitz. Those are the elders of Grace Community Church. Those men, I had put myself under them, trusting that they were elders of the church, but they turned out to be the Klan to me. To their people, they're probably the church, but to me, they're a Klan because of what they've done against me in the state of Seattle, in the state of Washington, and also in the state of Oregon. I don't believe these people are the Church of God. I don't believe that these people are born again. I don't believe that these people have ever been born again. I think they're just playing the game. This is just another manifestation of white supremacy. This is just another manifestation of whites establishing themselves as leaders, right? In the religion of Christianity, in the nation, in every facet. They want to declare them, like I said yesterday, they want to declare themselves to be the authorities, without anybody matching them or without anybody stepping up to the same level as them. It's an offense to them when any nation comes, even today, and tries to put themselves on their level or, require the same kind of respect. Well, the man behind the desk completely disrespected me several times. As a matter of fact, he spoke to me condescendingly, and there were people in the lobby, so I gave it back to him, and I told him, you're a racist Klansman because of just how you responded. And the fact that I can't talk to an officer, I can't file a police report, the fact that there was trespassing, there was sabotaging to the facility, there was sexual assault, and these people have been assaulting me for how many days? From the last time that I spoke to the police department till today. They have not stopped coming into the apartment and assaulting me. They have not stopped coming in and doing things. I mean, they come 6-7 times during the course of the night. They gas the apartment. They come and they go back and forth. And I'm thinking, why are you people doing all of this? And and I'm thinking, what's at the root of it is the relationship that you English Americans have with these African American people. And so any African that comes here, or anybody of African descent, anybody that is outside of your race, when they come into this country, you automatically put them on that level of, you're beneath us. We're not beneath you because we come into the land. I mean, you're from an island, for Christ's sake. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's not like you don't know what it's like living on an island. You do. And so, the whole idea is insulting to me that this is what I have to put up with. You know what I'm saying? So he tells me that, I have to wait until next Tuesday to talk to Thomas Pennington. Well, I'm not expecting Thomas Pennington because 3 days after Pennington, I guess December 1st, or 3 days after Pennington had left, they came back out again. Every single day. They came out that same day. After Pennington left, on the 27th, they came out at least 3 or 4 times. They came out on the 28th. They came out on the 29th. And finally, I think it was either on the 30th of November or the 1st of December, I called Pennington and I said, hey, you know what? These people continue. Because because he claimed to be a born again, and he claimed to have connection with the elders of grace. Well, here we are, January 23rd, 2014, and where is Pennington? The man who's supposed to be a Christian, who has contact with the elders of Grace Community Church, and MacArthur is sitting where? Exactly where Pennington left him the last time. Now, I have nothing against Pennington personally as an officer of the law, or even as an American, but this is not going to come to an end by itself. You understand what I'm saying, American? This is not going to come to an end. Got me, church? I mean, this is not going to stop by itself. Somebody from their side has to come out. Well, anyway, I didn't take it. I was pissed off, and I told the guy that he was a racist Klansman, and I don't believe that Pennington is going to come, and if he does come, it's to tell me that I need mental evaluation or mental medication or mental something, because that was how it ended the last time, and that's how it ended again today with the Portland Police Department. So you get no help, you get no assistance, and I believe that they're the ones behind this entire thing from beginning to end. They're assisting MacArthur and Franklin, and I'm not going to yield. And if that costs me my life, then you as an American society and a church, you really need to look into what's really going on here with these people that you put in positions of authority. You really need to reevaluate those people because you know what? This is not a free country. This is a land full of white supremacists they're all trying to establish themselves as, little Caesars. It's like you're dealing with a bunch of little Caesars. They all want to be Caesars. They all want to be regarded as the lead. I mean, the lead in what? I can get up in the morning and wash my butt and put on my clothes and go on about my day. I mean, I could hold up an 8-hour job position and pay my rent. What do I need your leadership for? What is your leadership going to provide me? What? To give me permission to do what? Fall in love? Give me permission to do what? Get an education? Give me permission to do what? What are you going to give me permission to do? That I can't, that the law and the government has not already given me. What are you going to tell me that the law does not? I mean, this is ridiculous. Anyway, I leave the police department and I went up to the Federal Public Defender's office because right then and there, what was in my mind was all the time I was talking to the officer, I kept on hearing, I don't know if it was Melinda or somebody else, spit in his face. I didn't spit in his face like I had done to the INS worker back in 2012 when I had sought immigration for assistance in this issue. Right? Immigration I was trying to get help from immigration. I'm a foreigner. I'm a Haitian Cuban. I'm not trying to start a war between my country and this country. We will lose, hands down. One state hits us and we're through. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not even trying to go there with the American people because God gave them the weapons of mass destruction. So, I go into the INS office back in 2012 and the immigration office, if you remember the story, the old immigration building, I was sleeping there during the course of the night, and I was molested by MacArthur in Franklin, right? I was knocked out. They gave me a blowjob. When I went to the new building to get some assistance, they had it all set up, right? A week later, they had it all set up. I couldn't speak to anybody at immigration right then and there, so they set up a scheduled appointment, and when I got there that day at the scheduled appointment, they had everybody in the lobby was either from Franklin or MacArthur. And I mean, as soon as I stepped into the immigration office, I was getting hit. And then the guy that comes out of the back, lo and behold, is a representative of the very people that I'm at war with. So, I was so pissed off that I spat on the guy's face. Well, the government issued me a citation, and I had to either go to jail or pay $275. I ended up paying $275, but I had to go to the Federal Public Defender District of Oregon, this office right here. And because of what I felt in talking to the police officer, I said, you know what, I better go up. The Spirit basically directed me to go up to their office, the 17th floor on Main Street, and talk to them, right, to the Federal Public Defender. And the woman that I spoke to, I don't know who she was, but the woman that I spoke to gave me this information right here. I needed to speak with a Federal Public Defender, Chief Deputy Stephen Sadie, and his secretary, Jill Zerk, L.A., I don't know, whatever. So I ended up talking to the Stephen Sadie, whoever that is, Shady, Sadie, whatever his name is. And their job, basically, is, from what I can understand, is to defend those that have been charged with a federal crime, right? When I was, back in 2012, I had been given a citation because I had committed a federal crime and spitting in the man's face. Because I was angry, I was frustrated, I was pissed off. I had left Seattle, Washington, because I was dealing with this issue for 14 years up there. I moved to Portland, Oregon. The whole thing followed me. I was being molested every night in the streets of Portland, and the police department wouldn't help. The immigration office turned, and where did it lead me? To this office right here, the Federal Public Defender. So after dealing with the police department today, I said, you know what, I better go talk to a public defender before I spit in their face, or before I punch them in their face, or before I do something that puts me as, put me as a federal criminal. And when I go up there, I wait for about 25 minutes or so, and Stephen Sadie comes out. And I began to think about last night. I explained to Chief Deputy Sadie my situation, but like they said, you have to be charged with a federal crime. You have to be charged with a federal crime in order for him to defend you. He could not defend me because no federal crime had been committed, and I had not been charged by the federal government. What I explained to Chief Deputy Shady was that I believe that the U.S. government is accusing me of a federal crime and is judging me for a federal crime. In other words, they're not taking me through the court process and putting handcuffs on me and leading me into a courtroom and saying you are guilty of this crime, and therefore, we're going to issue you this citation and put you in arrest. and put you in front of a judge or a jury to defend yourself, but everything that they have done seems to me has been protected by the federal government. Everything that MacArthur has done, everything that Gabriel Franklin has done, everything that the gay community has done, it leads me back to saying you have committed a federal crime, Kevin. And because of this federal crime that you have committed, and I'm saying, okay, well, what was the federal crime? Being black? What's the federal crime? Not being gay? What's the federal crime? Not accepting homosexuality as a position? What is the federal crime? Not subjecting myself to your white race as a subordinate? What's the federal crime that I'm committing, that I'm being treated this way every single day? What is my crime that you are treating me this way as a subordinate, what is it that I have done? And I asked the police department that, and the police department just told me, you need to leave out the door or else we will put you in jail for the afternoon. And I thought to myself, well, that's interesting. A crime is committed against me. Assault is committed against me all week long, and I can't get a police report. They come into the apartment and sabotage now the very establishment itself in my apartment, and I'm saying that's enough. You're doing it to my body, you're doing it to my things, and now you're going after the establishment? After they stopped at the toilet, then what's next? The sink, the shower, the heat, the ventilation, the windows? What are you going to break next? And then it comes out of what? The deposit, right? The door? Any damage done to the apartment is going to come out of the $500 that I gave to them as a deposit, right? And I need that money to move in the future if I need to. So I'm thinking this isn't cool. I got to put an end to this persecution and everything. Well, today I wasn't able to get any help from either the police department or the federal public defender because, well, I'm not a criminal on paper, but apparently in the society that's what I am, and that's what they're treating me as. So people in America today are being persecuted by the federal government because I emailed Barack Obama when this is, here's an entire, there are 2 books of all the stuff that they've been doing. I am on page 484. You understand? 484. Handwritten. These pages every single day. I don't know how many. This is the 9th one. This is the 9th one for the month of January. So I'm thinking, I don't get this. And here it is. The reason why I had showed you this movie here was because the 2 workers that I spoke to at the Federal Public Defender's Office reminded me of the Donahue family. The mother, who was the secretary, and the oldest son, who became a priest, was actually, if I think in my mind with the community's thoughts, it's probably him. And so we walked away on a bad note, right? I walked out and he basically, the whole issue of my being schizophrenic and being able to hear the voice of Gabriel Franklin and Melinda came up, and automatically, and I told him, yeah, I've taken Risperdal, I've gone to Western State Hospital, I've gone to jail 4 times, I've done all, I explained all of that to him, and his response after everything was, I have a mental illness and I need psychological evaluation. I gave him the whole spiel. The whole thing, from beginning to end, from 81 when I came into the country to now. And his response is, you have a mental illness. I have no mental illness. You are living in a racist country. You understand me, Americans? You are living in a racist country, and nothing has changed. And he had a picture of Martin Luther King in his office, and I pointed to the picture, and I said to him, you know what? I'm not going to allow you to treat me the way you treated those African American people. The way your people treated the African Americans, that's what I'm not accepting, because that's unacceptable. We are God's creation. We are the image of God. We are equal to you in anything you can do. In anything. We just need to learn it. You know what I'm saying? And you don't have the right to treat people this way. You don't have the right to force people to subordination. You don't have the right to make people submit to you and yield to you by force. By putting them in situations where they can, open fire on you. What if my spirit was not the spirit of a Christian preacher, but the spirit of a man who has access to bombs and grenades, and I could destroy you like those men did at 9/11. But how easy it would be to kill a bunch of innocent people over something as stupid as this. How ridiculous it would be to take the lives of innocent people when you could just humble yourself in the sight of God. Humble yourself from the wicked things that you're doing. What is the point of all of this, right? You go into a federal public defender's office, and what do you find? I think my last words to this federal public defender is, you remind me of the actor from this movie right here. Aren't you the actor from the movie? There's no business like show business. I mean, what kind of what kind of country are we running here? What is this ridiculous? And of course, from the time that I left the building, all the way to the time that I get to my own buildings here, they were all out telling me that, giving me the preview of what was to come. We're going to go right back into the sex at night, the sexual immorality, basically all of the hits. They just gave it all back. I just divulged the whole thing to the federal public defender and to the Portland Police Department, and nothing is resolved. How am I supposed to resolve this issue with these two old people? I'm not going to submit to MacArthur again, and to Earth Buznitz, and to and those people as leaders in the church. I don't believe them to be leaders in the church. I believe them to be the Klan, the enemies of God. You understand what I'm saying? God is in control of this planet here. I submit to Him. You understand? Every nation on the face of the earth belongs to Him. You as a people, right? Whether male or female, you as a people, this is your race. You as a people. Unless it's on the federal government level, right? Which is what everybody acknowledges. I'm not yielding to you. And if you think that I have an obligation to you because of your skin, hair, and eyes, I'm thinking, think again. We went through all of that. That's why we have a Constitution. That's why we have RCW laws. That's why we have a Bible. Use the law to straighten yourselves out, MacArthur and Franklin. Use the law. Franklin, you're not a Christian woman. That's fine. Use the constitutional law. You understand? What you're doing and these people giving you permission to do is wrong. It's against my rights as an American. You understand what I'm saying? It's against my right as an American. If I don't want you, using my body for sexual satisfaction, I have a right. That is against my, it's a violation of my sexual rights. I mean, this woman has been sexually violating me. This case should have been in the Supreme Court years ago against these two people. And yet, I can't get no kind of assistance from any police department, from any public defender, on the federal government level. I've taken this case to 4 different court judges. Here is the Here's the case. Here's the case here. Here's the case here. I mean, here's the case. And I've taken it to the courts. And I still can't resolve it because the government will not allow me to resolve it. The government will not take their real position because it's the government who's doing it. It's the government who's doing it. I'm not an enemy of the state. I'm not an enemy of the United States of America, but this is what they're doing, and it is wrong. You understand? The constitutional law says that when a government turns against a people, then that government needs to be replaced. The people should vote them out. I, as one person, cannot fight the U.S. government and these officials and these people that are representing people that I'm fighting. What is this garbage? I'm fighting Haitian people that are being represented by Americans in these levels. What is this? This is bullshit. I don't mean to curse at you or anything, but this is just ridiculous. What is this? Every church establishment is submitting to MacArthur. Every federal government is helping Gabriel just to get me to submit. Well, what happened to the law? Whatever happened to the constitutional law that we claim to believe? Right? Are we still believing it, or are you just blowing smoke up our asses? What are you doing? We just elected a Negro for the first time, and the Negro turns out to be my enemy. Why are you my enemy? What is this? What is this challenge? I mean, yeah, I was a ward of the court. I was an orphan at one time, but that doesn't give you Americans or you Haitians or you so-called Christian leaders the right to treat me this way and to take advantage of me just because what? I don't have a father in this country. My mother is not in this country. This Haitian woman here, right? That was the woman that I called mother as a child. Marianne. That woman there, do you know that in this movie here, this woman is an exact replica of her, but in white? I mean, what are you trying to say here? I don't get it. Well, I mean, I pick up these two movies, and it's like, wait a second, I know these people. You know, he looks like Guy Franklin. She looks like Mary Ann, my mother. If I took the picture of my mother and put it next to that woman's face, that's what it is. I'm not exactly sure. What exactly are you trying to say? Spit it out. Because if it's beyond the federal government level, say so. Say so. Because the issue is not me not believing in the Word of God. The issue is beyond that. Not necessarily beyond that, but what gives? You know, what gives? So I think you, as an American continent, you need to be aware of this sort of thing. And I know you are, but you need to be aware of this sort of thing. And you know, if you have the authority to put an end to it, I would say help me out by putting an end to it. If you have the authority to put an end to this nonsense that MacArthur and Franklin have been doing for the last 32, 33 years, you know, now is the time to put an end to it. Because what's next? And then you're going to get the government crying when somebody comes from their country to destroy your Twin Towers, right? Look at what I'm saying here. Here's the Twin Towers. That's what it used to be, right? And all around it, what did I do with this model? I put tombstones all around it. You see? Tombstones. This is what happens, right? And when you look at the picture here, here's the real thing, right? Here's the real building, and then here's the outcome, right? Here's the outcome for the American side, and here's the outcome for the Iraqi side. Is this where we're going? I mean, with this situation here, does it begin with me? And then after that, what? Are you going after Haiti to take over the island? I mean, what else are you going to do? I mean, it's like, is it your greed that's driving you, or is it your hate for our people that's driving you to do this? Is it your greed for power and authority over every nation on the face of the earth, or is it your hatred for African men that's driving you to do this? Because I don't understand where you're coming from. Or is it Satan himself, right? I mean, I can't resolve the situation for you if you have a satanic issue, but I certainly don't want what's happening here on this level to be taken to this. You know what I mean? I don't want Haiti to lose, the Haitians to lose their island, because one Haitian woman, you know, submits her whole life to the American continent, and here I am fighting this continent for my liberty and my justice. You understand? I'm fighting this American continent on every level, just like the African Americans did. But then, what's the resolution? What is it going to accomplish? Absolutely nothing. Nothing is going to be accomplished here. I'm not going to be any different than what I was in '81. I'm not going to be any different than what I was when I came into the country. What am I going to change? I'm not going to change nothing. All the information about submission and subjugation is not going to change my course. So why do it? Why are you doing all of this? So that we can have another war? So that two nations can sit here and fight against each other? What is this? That's the reason why I went in this direction with my life. Right? The reason why I went in this direction with my life was because of how Africans have been treated all their lives, right? This is the reason why I went in this direction, because, you know what? There's peace in the Holy Spirit. There is no peace here, right? Living this way, there's no peace. The war that you people are waging on me, you know, for all I know, this could be the real thing. I mean, if you can do it to one Haitian, you can do it to an entire island. If you can mistreat a Haitian up to this level, you can do it to the entire island and take over. The same way you took over my life, you can take over the island. Is that what you're after? Are you after the island as a people? Are you trying to reestablish yourself against over Africans? I mean, you did it here for 300-400 years. Now are you going after those people to take away their liberty too? I don't know. I'm not exactly sure where you're coming from. The reason why I preach the gospel is because I'm acknowledging the God who is over this, over my life. The God who brought me into this world of ours here. The God who brought me into this. You know, the people who built this thing here, they come and they go. You see, you can't destroy the earth, but you can destroy your work, right? And the same way you can destroy people's lives. And so, you know, I'm not exactly sure where you're going as a company. You know, if I move to one of your states, you know, let's say you're in Texas, or you're in Kansas, or you're in Florida, or you're in New York, or you're in Delaware, one of these other states, this situation will follow me into your state. And then it's just a continuation. When I move out of here, whenever that is, whether before the year lease is over or after the year lease is over, it doesn't matter. This situation, unless it's put to a halt, unless it's put to an end, it's only going to follow me into your state, into your city, and even into your apartment complex, because these people will not stop. And I can't fight them all by myself. And all I'm saying is that before it gets to this level, let's deal with it on either the federal government level, the police department level, the biblical level, or just here. Right? Which of these levels do you want to resolve it on? 1, 2, 3, or 4? I went this way, and I'm staying this way. Why? Because the God of this book is the God is the one that's over the earth. You understand what I'm saying? And if you people are not willing, and I'm saying when I say you people, I mean you Americans. You Americans, if you're not willing to submit to God, and you're not willing to submit to your police department and to your federal government, and not even your building management, there's nothing I could do to help you. As a community of homosexuals, as a community of heathens, reprobates, whatever you want to consider yourself, I cannot help you with this situation. This is beyond my hands. This is as far as I go. You understand what I'm saying? This is as far as I go. I don't blow up buildings. I don't shoot old ladies. I don't destroy people's lives. I don't do none of these things. I don't attack people with knives. I don't poison people's food. I don't mace people in the face. I don't molest little children. You understand what I'm saying? All of these things I could do, but for what purpose? Why put myself in a position of jeopardy? Why follow in the footsteps of Timothy McVeigh? Why follow in the footsteps of Charles Manson, who murders women? Right? Since the women have a part in doing this. Why follow in the footsteps of the man, of the young boy just the other day who shot up an entire nursery of children, 5, 6, 7 years old? Or the guy last year who blew up Clackamas's mall? Why follow in their footsteps? It's pointless. Pointless to respond that way to persecution and things that are, that people are doing. That's why I went this way, right? Doing it God's way. Always doing it God's way. Why don't you do it God's way? If you know who is behind this, why don't you put an end to it? Use the scriptures. Use the federal government. Use the police department. Even if you can use the management of this establishment, whatever it is, put an end to it. Close the book. It is finito. 15 years, for Christ's sake, let's move on. Let's move on with our lives so I don't have to come back out again.